Assalamualaikum. My name is Shahira. In this new series of Food and Faith, Muslim SG together with the Asatiza Youth Network and their invited guests will discuss the relation between food, faith and culture. We will bring you friends from other faiths to discuss respective religious festivals and observation, and us sharing about ours too, together with me spicing the beauty of different faiths. Deepavali, known as the Festival of Lights, is a celebration that has always lived up to its name, expressing the dazzling lights and colourful rangoli, delightful treats such as Murukku as well as beautiful saris. As Singaporeans, we are fortunate to be able to witness and enjoy this celebration as part of our Singaporean identity. But I have been incredibly curious about some of the Deepavali festive elements, and I'm sure you are too. Let's find out the answers from my special guest in this episode of Food and Faith. Assalamualaikum and welcome to the 4th episode of Food and Faith, and together with me is Miss Losheini and also Ustazah Amalina. Welcome! So today we're going to talk something about Deepavali. As you can see, there's different kinds of varieties of sweets and also delicacies, right? So maybe Losheini, you can actually share with us like what the different types of like sweets that you guys actually serve during the Deepavali. And when it comes to Deepavali, okay, these are the sweets that we were going to buy and to serve to our guests or even family members. Yep. I know that is Murukku.
First and foremost, I just want to put a disclaimer here that whatever things I might share is perspectives based on my upbringing as a Hindu, and also I want to also acknowledge the fact that given that there's a lot of heterogeneity within Hinduism itself, so there may be different practices. So I'm just sharing some of my understandings about the food and the preparation. Okay. So basically, like most of the families, Hindu families here in Singapore, for Deepavali, one central thing is that making any goodie that is oil-based is very important. So you need to at least have, in Tamil we call it yenna chatti. So basically you have to deep fry it in oil. So you should have at least 1 to 2 goodies made at home in oil itself. Because sometimes nowadays it's based on also the means, you know, not every family can prepare so many goodies. So mainly 2 key things that are prepared in this regard. One is Murukku, as we have here. Another one is called adirasam. So it's made with ground fermented flour. And it has sugar and everything, so it's slightly of a it's brownish in color, and it's very sweet. It's like a flat disc.
Is it like a pancake kind of
in a
texture?
way, yes, it is. Okay. It's made in different sizes. Some families prefer making it a bit smaller. It looks a bit like vada at times. It's like a donut basically. So it varies, but yeah, it is very popularly made here in Singapore by a number of Hindu families as well. And the whole concept of deep frying things in oil is for prosperity as well. Which is why oil is quite central in Diwali, as you can see, even in the food and everything. It is a belief that it brings in harmony, you know, as you deep fry it in oil. So the main things are Murukku and adirasam that is made, and of course you have different variations, as you can see here. They look really yummy and tantalizing to me. So here we have laddu. Okay. So laddu, it's quite popular. It comes in different forms. This is a bit of it has a bit of beads in it. It's like those small circles. Sometimes people call it like motichur laddu as well. And this is like palgova. So it's made of milk. So as you eat it, you can feel the richness of the milk as well. And this is burfi, so it's made of coconut mainly. It comes in all sorts of colors. Like sometimes when I go to my grand aunt's place, they make this a lot, and it comes in red, all sorts of like, it looks like a
red. Cut into very small.
Yes, because to be honest, it can be a bit rich at times. So like some people might not be able to finish if it's this big inside. So people tend to cut it even smaller, and it kind of tempts people to eat more. So the whole purpose of Diwali is like the food is main. So usually we try to get people to eat a lot as much as possible. It's a part of the culture. And then you have this variation also. It also resembles a burfi, but it has pistachios and all, like, especially for people who like nuts and everything. And this also comes with milk. So usually in Indian sweets, you kind of encounter 2 very key ingredients. One is ghee, which is also otherwise known as...
we used to cook nasi biryani.
Yes! And then so it's clarified butter, and then we also use milk.
Wow. The amount of sugar and coconut.
I think this one, like the exterior, it looks like the kueh suji that we have.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
white color.
that has like a biscuit texture. This one, like you bite into it, it's really, really soft. You just taste milk. It's like the rabbit sweets that we have.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely tastes like
richness is there.
yeah. And what about yours?
This one is coconut and sugar. I think that when you bite, there's like sugar, coconut.
Yes.
Actually, last episode we have like when we talk about Mid-Autumn Festival, we related it with mooncakes. Yeah, but Deepavali, do we have like a connections where when we talk about Deepavali and a certain delicacies or certain sweets like Murukku, like you mentioned, Adi Razam, is there any connection and why do we have to like have it every Deepavali?
Right. In terms of food and it does vary from household to household, but generally the reason why we come across Murukku and other rasam, for instance, is because they are like oil-based and you usually fry them in deep oil. And another interesting fact about this is that in some households, especially if you ever get a chance, if any aunties or someone you know is making Murukku, you should actually follow them because the whole process of making it is quite symbolic as well. So usually at the start, right, what we tend to do is one Murukku will be fried and then it will be we will place it near the fire of the stove and until it gets a bit burnt, then we'll put it aside because this is like an offering to Agni, the fire god. So we are kind of paying our respects to the fire god for giving us fire to cook the food.
Wow.
So in that sense, we tend to, which is why we always believe in cooking at least 1 to 2 goodies at home. So we kind of, it's like a it's a moment to thanksgiving, you know, like thanking God for all the provisions and resources and so on. So yeah, as far as Deepavali is concerned, I think one like maybe like unofficial staple in that sense would be definitely Murukku. So you can see because it comes with this because apart from other goodies, like you know, Murukku is one thing that you will definitely have to put in the ena chatti or the oil and really deep fry it. So it comes with that kind of understandings that Murukku is always central to in most households. I can safely say you would definitely come across that.
I think it's so interesting. It's not just the ingredients that have some meaning behind it, but also the method of preparation for it. There's so much symbol and meaning that goes into it. Yeah, that's so interesting.
When it comes to Deepavali, we know that decoration will be all about lights, right? I also know and also understand as festival of light. But what are the significance between these beautiful decorations with lights and also the significance of why you celebrate Deepavali, this beautiful Deepavali?
Regarding the whole origin of Deepavali, so there are usually like 2 narratives that talk about Deepavali. So maybe I'll just share one of it first. One is, so here in Singapore, many of the Indian Hindu families actually associate this with the story of Lord Krishna and Narakasura. So there used to be this demon by the name of Narakasura. So he used to like torment people. There were a lot of atrocities going on, and apparently Lord Krishna with his wife Satyabhama. So it is believed that Lord Krishna and Satyabhama, his wife, come to vanquish this Narakasura. And in that process, what happens is when he's vanquished and when he's about to die, Narakasura actually realizes his mistake. So it is believed that he sought a boon from Satyabhama. That this day that he's going to die should not be a day for mourning, but rather a day of celebration. So upon his death, what happened was that people actually light up lamps. So and in the end, this day got celebrated as Deepavali. What it kind of serves to show is that darkness can be only removed when there's light. Because when light comes in, it kind of represents a symbolic triumph of good over evil. And you know, and also the idea of how like Narakasura was defeated and you know eventually him seeking forgiveness, it really reflects upon how there's always a hope for everything, hope for things to change for the better, and about setting the past aside. And light is, in Hinduism especially, light has very often been associated with ideas of enlightenment. So it kind of illuminates the mind and soul. So as a result, light has become a very perennially significant role in the whole Deepavali paraphernalia. So you will always come across lamps like this.
Okay, so when you mentioned about light also, in our Quran also mentioned about enlightenment of mind and soul. It also resembles knowledge. Okay, so knowledge is also something like light resembles like a knowledge also. So maybe Ustazah want to add as well?
As rightly pointed out by Shahira, in fact, in the Quran we have an entire chapter called Nur, which is light, and in that chapter, it states that one of Allah's attributes is that Allah is Nur. He is the light of the heavens and the earth. So as Muslims, we believe that Allah provides us with guidance in this world, and He guides us through many forms. Like for example, as we know, the Holy Quran is very rich in knowledge, and in the Quran as well, Allah mentions that يُخْرِجُكُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. So Allah brings us to light. Zulumat means darkness, so He brings us from a state of darkness to light. And I think it's something that we also mentioned in your narrative just now.
It's really beautiful.
Exactly. And interestingly, in this excerpt of this phrase, az-zulumat here, which means darkness, is in Arabic syntax, it's presented as in a plural form, whereas an-nur is then presented in a singular form. So what it means is that there's so many levels and types of darkness, but the cure is still a singular point of light.
Yeah,
so
it's one light.
Yeah, so as Muslims,
and also that resembles one light, which is Allah lah, the only one.
Yeah, so as
that
Muslims,
is how we.
It's always that when we are stressed or we are facing any difficulties or challenges, we are always encouraged to turn back to Allah to seek guidance or to read the Quran, through which Allah guides us as well. So I guess through that, we seek some sort of relief, enlightenment, contentment, or even hope, as you mentioned. So I guess based on that meaning, that's why a lot of parents, if you realize your Muslim friends, their parents love to include the word Nur in their daughters' names.
Yeah, like
so
me, my name is Nur.
Yeah, so in hopes that their daughters will then emulate the essence of Nur to people around them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So next time I see Nur, I will get reminded of what you mentioned.
So Losheini, apart from the delicacies here, how else is Deepavali celebrated?
Right, so it's basically like a process of its own, right? So basically all these goodies and everything are made either on the eve or like some days before Deepavali and so on. What happens on the eve is also so basically, as you can see now, like Little India will be super packed because people are buying clothes. Yeah. So it's very important, especially on festivals like Diwali, for us to kind of get new clothes because it's like a new beginning. So we don't wear like we try to wear new clothes, and we make sure that the cloth is not torn or anything. That's not usually people tend not to get that kind of things, I guess. So the oldest person in the family, they will take oil. So we call it nallanai in Tamil. It's sometimes referred to as gingerly oil or sesame oil, so translation. But yeah, so we call it nallanai, and what they do is that they will put 3 drops of it on the forehead of the children and people at home before sunrise. So once you get up in the morning of Deepavali, what you do is you shower. It's like an oil bath, and people usually add this herbs-based thing called shiakai. So that's to help you wash the oil, because oil is a bit slippery, so sometimes it doesn't quite get off your hair easily. Yeah. So the whole concept of oil bath and so on, one reason is it helps you to get rid of the heat, especially when our bodies get heaty and so on. And another thing is also like it's very symbolic of removing impurities. Yeah, and what happens is also so on the day of Deepavali, families will have what you call padel. So they have like a different set of dishes prepared and given on a banana leaf. So usually people tend to bring in the banana leaf on festivals especially. Yeah. So it's very tasty on a practical note, and also it's symbolically like it's very central to most of the Indian families here. The idea of eating banana leaf has been seen as a part of culture as well. So usually on Diwali, we if you go to house for visiting and all that, you will see people serving food on banana leaf at times. So it's really a part of reviving the tradition.
Oh, okay. So one of the things I am curious is also the decoration in front of your house. Column, they call it. Yes. Yeah, and then some of them also. I think nowadays they just use like color. They do not really color the rice. I think they have to use the rice as main ingredients, right, for that decoration. Right.
The essence of actually using kolam is this idea of like what is it made of is something important to consider. So kolam is something that is made of rice flour. So sometimes it's dyed and also in different colors, but when it is laid out, what happens is the main intention behind it is to give food for ants and for other insects that might pass by that way. So yes, we hold this concept of catering to all creatures. We see God as all-pervading as well. He resides in all creatures, all beings. So this is the respect that we show to insects or other animals or creatures that may be hungry as well. Due to convenience, some people tend to put stickers and so on. So people started to think of it more as something aesthetic and just for the sake of beauty. But it is not just that. It's also about feeding those who are hungry. And this is a very central concept, like the idea of annadana or giving food is very central to Hinduism. So you can see how that is also incorporated in the concept of like drawing kolam as well. Yeah.
I think it's interesting just now when we're sharing the rituals and practices that you do during the day of Deepavali itself. I think Shahiirah will also agree that it's very similar to what we do during our Hari Raya. Like we have certain sunnahs that we observe as well. So I guess with a part of grooming, especially in the spirit of celebration, we are also encouraged with the little things. You know, it's even sunnah for us, or very encouraged for us to take like a fresh bath before we conduct our Eid prayers, either with family or we go to the mosque. And then it's also very highly encouraged of us to also use our best outfit. Yeah, so I think a slight difference would be that our best outfit need not be like something that we buy, during the Ramadan bazaar or something like that. But the essence of it is to express beauty and express celebration and victory, and that in itself is something that's so encouraged on that day.
Speaking about neighbours, through the celebrations of Deepavali, how can we foster a better relationship with our neighbours?
I guess the key thing lies in visiting. I think it's central to many cases. Like for Hari Raya, we have the open house, and for in terms of Deepavali, like one very strong value I've learned from my grand aunt is that she always tells me this thing that I will never forget. So once I was having a conversation with her about Deepavali, and I was saying like, I'll be the first one to come in and eat, and she told me something that really made it very impactful, and she said that, even if it's not about who I'm closer to anymore. As far as a Deepavali house is concerned, on the day, even if your enemy steps in the house, you give food. So it is that it was that powerful a message, because it made me realize that beyond all the tensions or enmity or differences that one may have, the whole idea of giving or compassion is so central, and it's really a very beautiful lesson that I've learned from my elders at home. And I guess in terms of different races, I mean, we have really come a very long way. Today we are living very harmoniously, and you can see how that is even influenced in our delicacies. The fact that we have kueh tat and even kueh wajib sometimes in Diwali, which is like an unexpected surprise goodie. I guess in terms of fostering bonds with different races and so on, I guess like we nowadays have instances where I've had like Chinese friends coming over to my home for Diwali to enjoy the snacks and everything, and they actually make an effort to bring something along, because for Indians usually there's this belief of like when you meet your guests, you shouldn't go empty-handed. So people try to bring in maybe goodies or some gifts for the elders at home as well. So that is one way in which this can be done. And of course, in terms of even dresses and so on, like I have friends from different races. My Malay friends, Chinese friends, or Eurasian friends are very fascinated by the whole colourful ambience that Diwali creates. So people, I've had one of my friends was so excited about this whole idea of Diwali that I actually we got her a sari to drape herself with, and she loves and she really loved it, so we were very happy, and it was all like colourful, so it comes like it's kind of a rainbow coloured sari, and she actually took the trouble to let us help drape it for her. It can be quite especially if you're someone new to wearing a sari, you need a lot of patience.
With the length of the
especially the length and everything, and by the time you drape it, it's quite a process. But through that, actually, you kind of get to bond with your friends, and they start to realize and appreciate your culture, because I truly believe that one of the strongest values in the Singaporean context is we are not tolerating each other, we are embracing one another, and that is a key value that we wish and hope to impart on our other friends from our friends from other ethnicities or other religion, regardless of all those differences. At the end of the day, Diwali is about all of us coming together, having food, having fun, and realizing the value of each other, because it takes different people to build a nation that it is today.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what Diwali seeks to show. Harmony.
Okay.
That's really nicely put. But if I can just chime in and add to that, I think especially for us from the perspective of like a Muslim, Islam is a religion that really honors neighbors. So even there's a hadith which says that if you cook some stew, make a lot of it and fulfill your duty to your neighbor. So that just comes to show, being a good neighbor and maintaining good relationship with our neighbors is very important. And I mean, from what you just shared, I mean, it's safe to say that the culture of sharing food, exchanging food is well alive in Singapore. And I think we know that as Singaporeans, really food really bring us like together. And I really shared your idea, your sentiment that you just mentioned just now, like to come together, to host one another when we have our festive celebrations, because I think that gives us the opportunity to go beyond just corridor conversations. It gives us the opportunity to really get to know one another, to educate, to exchange our cultures, learn about our different beliefs. And that's where we become more aware of one another. And I mean, through our conversation, we realize that we have more similarity than we actually have differences. So I guess all in all, it really gives us the opportunity to forge like better and meaningful relationship with our neighbors.
After the sharing that I had with my lovely guest today, I realized we are more alike than we are different. We are linked by our common humanity. Let us shine a light to extinguish the darkness of bigotry and prejudice. Here's to wishing our Hindu friends a very happy Deepavali. See you in the next episode of Food and Faith. Till then, Assalamualaikum.